into George Zibermman and the Trayvon Martin case, and the fact that she was deciding to charge him with second-degree murder.
And you almost have to wonder, was that somewhat planned in her delivery, because she was smiling throughout, and it really took her 3 or 4 minutes into the press conference before she even really acknowledged what the charges were for George Zibermman, which was, of course, what everyone was anticipating. What are the charges going to be, if any? She finally got to them, but she was very pleasant, very calm, and it almost seemed like maybe there was an effort to bring this whole case down a notch, send the message that, hey, we have things under control. She pointed out right off the top that she had talked to Trayvon Martin's family and had been in touch with them.
Wanting everyone, of course, to remain calm. And we understand now that the attorney, Mark O'Mara, George Zimmerman's new attorney, is ready to speak, so let's listen and see what he has to say.
And I have no idea what we're going to be doing next, except tomorrow we're going to have a bond motion hearing, hopefully before a circuit judge in Seminole County. I'll be certainly seeking his release. Quite honestly, I've not been involved in the case that long, so I know nothing more than the media, probably a lot less.
Mark, will you say in Seminole County Jail tonight?
He's not in Seminole County presently, so I'm not sure when that transportation is going to be completed.
What did George say? You talked about the phone.
I think he's troubled by the fact that the state decided to charge him, but I've talked to him about the process. The prosecutor knows the evidence much better than I do right now. She's professional. She's doing a job as a prosecutor. She's made a decision, and now we'll see what the next step brings. I think anyone who would be charged with second-degree murder would be scared. So, yeah. He's in police custody, and they are doing what they can to get him to Seminole County.
Did he call you?
We voluntarily surrendered him to law enforcement with the realization that the charges were going to come, and he did that again voluntarily. And we're trying to work out the best way to keep this as calm as we can.
How did you become his attorney?
The family contacted me. I think there were referrals from other lawyers, and I talked to Mrs. Zibermman.
SDLE or Jacksonville? Which law enforcement?
I believe it was SDLE, yes.
Have you ever had a stage of your application?
30 years of practice. The standing ground statute, I think, was 2005. The idea of having self-defense cases, yes, I've done several death penalty cases, a bunch of murder cases. The self-defense is, in many of them, a part of the defense, possibly. So, yeah.
Mark, based on what you know about the facts, how are you going to make the case that this will be justified?
I don't know yet. I have no idea. Commenting on the evidence is not really appropriate anyway, but it's easier for me to say I'm not going to comment on it because I know nothing more than you.
What did Zimmerman say to you, Mark? What did Zimmerman say to you?
He's concerned about getting a fair trial and a fair presentation. There's obviously been a lot of information flowing. I think a lot of it's been both premature and maybe inappropriate. I don't think a case like this should be tried here, and it's not going to be. I don't think the prosecutor is going to try it before cameras, and I'm very glad to hear that. But there's a lot of information, and of course there's a lot of groundswell of emotions on all sides of the issue. The statute, whether or not it's appropriate, Trayvon Martin's untimely death, Mr. Zibermman. So there's a lot of issues and there's a lot of emotions, and we need to calm this down. It needs to be tried in a courtroom, which is the only place it's supposed to be tried, and that's what I'm going to help try to get done.
Mark, how are you going to keep the last attorney? What makes you want to take this case?
It's what I do. I mean, I've done it for a long, long time. I think I'm pretty good at it. I hope to be good at it. And Mr. Zibermman needs a very good and focused defense, so we're going to build him one.
Is that why you stopped calling his former attorney?
I'm sorry?
Is that why you stopped calling his former attorney?
I didn't talk to him about how that occurred or what happened with that.
Were you on before or after that news conference yesterday where his legal advisor
It would definitely have been after.
After that news conference? Did he mention that to you, that he needed new counsel after that?
We didn't talk about that.
Mark, can you tell me what city he's in?
This case has so much attention. How can you keep him safe?
I'm hoping that law enforcement is going to do what they can to assist me in keeping him safe. I'm hoping that the community will calm down. We now have a process in place. It's a very good process. Best in the world, and it works pretty well. We have to let it work. We have to understand and have faith in the justice system. Nobody, after all, wanted Trayvon Martin to be prejudged as he was walking down that street. I asked not to prejudge George Zimmerman, and please do not prejudge the criminal justice system. It's going to work. We just need to let it work.
Are you aware of how much your life's going to change? How much is your life going to change?
I understand the undertaking. It's going to be challenging, and I've handled other high-profile cases of sorts. I'll deal with it. I hope to have a good support team with me, and I hope that I'll be given the time to do it, and we won't have to have many of these.
Did you contact him through his website?
I'm sorry?
Did you contact him through his website?
Absolutely not. I did not contact him at all, which would be unethical to contact a lawyer, client for representation. And no, I haven't even seen the website, to be honest with you.
What city did he turn himself in?
I really don't want to disclose.
With the Central Court. And where was he before today? I've been wondering where he was.
I don't know.
Mark, what are the conditions of bond you're hoping the judge grants? Well, given the sensitivity in the community, are you going to see if he can be let out of Seminole County or let out of Florida?
My hope is that the judge will grant a bond, and that'll be a bond that the family can make. They are not a family of means, so that's going to be difficult to begin with. And that normally the conditions are that you stay local. I think that may be difficult. I think that nobody would deny the fact that if George Zimmerman was walking down the street today, he would be at risk. And that's just the reality. That's just the way things are right now. So we need to protect him. And I'm hoping that the judge will understand that. I'm certain the prosecutor understands that. I'm hoping law enforcement will give us the assistance that we're going to need in this case. But I'm hoping that we're going to keep him safe. I want him to get to his trial so that a judge or jury or the prosecutor and I can figure out a way to resolve it.
Mark, you'll be out here tomorrow?
All right, you've been listening to Mark O'Meara holding a news conference. He is the new attorney of George Zimmerman. George Zimmerman now charged with second-degree murder. O'Meara says there will be a bond motion hearing tomorrow. He said he hasn't been involved in the case all that long. He really doesn't know the evidence in the case. And George Zimmerman is on his way now to the Seminole County Jail from Jacksonville.
And that completes our coverage right now. It's been a day of news conferences. We're going to pull out the best information from all of the news conferences of the day in the case of Trayvon Martin, and we'll have a complete coverage for you tonight at 10 and 11 on Eyewitness News. For now, we return you to regular programming.